Hello, everybody. Guess what? It's Thursday, which means it's another episode of Conversations with Kesha. And boy, is it going to be a good one today, I'm sure, because I have visitors today. My kids want to talk to me. My mom and my stepdad just stepped out. So we're going to be talking about spring cleaning today and why that is so important. Got some good stuff, you guys. But if this is the first time you've ever watched one of my live streams, welcome to Conversations with Kesha. My name is Lakesha Gates of LakeshaGates.com. I am a life coach and a small business consultant where I help you gain clarity, build a strategy, and implement that strategy. Because without execution, what is there? So, welcome into this space. If you guys can do me a huge favor and share this live stream with your family, your friends, anybody who needs some tips on how to spring clean. And guess what? I'm a spring cleaner. I'm an organizer by who I am. Like, I do not like stuff. I do not like the accumulation of things. But somehow, guess what? Things accumulate. And so you have to take the time to spring clean, to organize, to declutter. But today I'm not talking about in your physical space. I'm talking about in your mind. So I want to welcome you guys in. Hi, Pastor Blair. Thank you, Tarika, for watching live. I want to welcome you guys in. We're going to have a conversation today about spring cleaning our minds. So come on in, come on in. Let me know how you're doing today. Hi, you guys. Thank you for watching. I am ready to dive in because we have these old ways of thinking. And with everything that's going on around us, the funny thing is, in my world, in the small business and life coaching and consulting world, yesterday was a huge impact to thousands of business owners because Facebook and Instagram were down for like 12 hours. And it's so funny how it impacted so many people, right? And over the last couple of months, you guys, I've been talking to you about creating space for ourselves and not getting stuck and building our ministries and our businesses in the way that God saw fit for us, so that when situations like yesterday happen, we won't really be impacted because we have launched out and we've done these things, right? So we've seen the government shut down. I think that was back in January. It affected, like, I think, I want to say like 100,000 people, something like that, in the six figures. Real people, real lives, real needs that weren't being met because the government shut down. We saw just yesterday with the grounding of the Boeing 737 MAX 8s, I think that's what it's called. Our things are just not as stable as they used to be. And then the infamous Facebook and the infamous Instagram shut down, right? But if you had a renewed way of thinking, that kind of stuff doesn't even bother you. You dust that off your shoulders because you're equipped to handle these situations when they come up. So the old way of thinking, because as we start to transition into spring cleaning, there is the people that we are versus the people that we desire to be, right? There's the people, the person that I am, and there's a place that I'm trying to get to, right? And most people are like, you set goals to get there. Most people are like, you got to break it down in chunks. I'm a proponent for that. You know, that's like the pillars of what the Dynamic Collective was built on. But it first starts out with the way that you think, right? So this old way of thinking says the person I am today, I kind of carry this fear of rejection, right? Like, I don't want to put myself out there because I'm afraid. Or maybe the way that I do it is not right, right? Or somebody else can do it better than me, so I shouldn't just do it at all. Or they're stuck. They're stuck is, this is the only way to do it. And if it's not perfect, then I can't do it. And see, that's what's happened to us why people are so impacted over the last couple of months, because they've been told and they believe that this was the only way to be able to do something, right? So the old way of thinking says, I have to follow the I have to be in a place where I'm following the rules of the trade, right? The law, the rule of the land, the laws of the land. And in this season, if you're not putting your creativity cap on, if you're not putting your innovative cap on, if you're not beginning to look at things and think about things in a different way, you are going to be left behind. And not like that. For my believers, I'm not talking about being taken up. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is we have to. It's become an imperative part of our life to be able to think in different ways, to be able to look at a situation and have the confidence to pursue it in the way that God has given it to us, right? Not comparing ourselves to other people. So when I'm talking about spring cleaning, you guys, I'm talking about cleaning out that old way of thinking, because it doesn't work and it is not beneficial. If you were going through your house and you had an object that you no longer used anymore, if you're like me, and I hope that you would figure out if it needs a new home, if you could sell it to somebody else who needs it, if you could donate it, do something with it, right? You wouldn't just hang on to it. And if you are, because in your mind, I pay money for this, I think I might use it, that is the old way of thinking. That's staying stuck in the person that you are today and not making any steps forward to the person that you want to be. So the first start is to realize, am I stuck in this old way of thinking? Because somebody who has a new way of thinking, they would say things like, I'm going to have faith, right? I'm going to take the first step. I'm going to pursue this thing even if I don't know what step 10, 11, and 12 is, right? I'm going to take the step even if I'm not 100% clear, right? I'm going to embrace failure, right? Another pillar of the dynamic collective. I'm going to embrace failure as a tool for success, right? And I'm going to make a commitment to actively pursue this thing. So the difference between the person who has an old way of thinking says, oh, somebody else can do it because I'm not ready. It's not perfect. I feel stuck. I'm afraid of being rejected. But this new person says, I might actually get rejected, but I'm going to take the step anyway, right? I might actually fail, but we know failing is a learning, right? Failure is not failing unless you do the same thing again and find yourself in the same situation. Failure is a tool for success. Failure helps you to get to your destination quicker, because the quicker you try something and it doesn't work, the quicker you get to where you're going, right? So this new way of thinking, as we're spring cleaning, because remember, that's what we're talking about, spring cleaning our mind. Are you living in this old way of thinking? Or are you embracing this new way of thinking? And if you're not, of course, I'm going to give you some solutions, because why would you be watching if I was not giving you any solutions? And that's another hint. We're looking at all these people out here who are not giving us practical solutions. That is in all spheres. That's in education. That's in entertainment. That's in business. Whatever sphere you're in, make sure people are giving you the nuggets that you need to actively apply these strategies into your own life. And because if not, then you have to ask yourself, the one resource that I have that is limited is time. We can't get stuck because we're losing time, you guys. We don't get that time back. Yesterday is gone. 2 weeks ago is gone. The moment that I just spoke, that is gone. Our time is valuable, right? So we do not have time to be stuck in this old way of thinking. It's time to embrace this new way of thinking. It's time to walk confidently, even if you don't feel confident. Because guess what? As you're pursuing these things, as you're going after them, you begin to build confidence. Listen, I heard somebody else say yesterday, and I was like, me too. Me too. They were like, people come to me all the time, like, how are you doing this? How are you doing? Well, how did you know to do this? Did you go to school for this? Did you get a certificate for this? No, I didn't. Most of the time, I am definitely afraid of speaking up. I am definitely afraid of sharing what I know, right? Because of fear of rejection, because of fear of what people are going to say, or feeling like I'm too pushy, or getting a negative perception of me. But I do it anyway because I am responding to the Holy Spirit in that moment, right? So as you begin to pursue those things, as you begin to embrace failure, failure can't hurt you if you're not afraid of it, right? If you're like, okay, I might make a mistake, but guess what? There's no mistake out there that can't be fixed, right? It's beginning to embrace this new way of thinking. So we're spring cleaning out the old way and we're bringing in the new way. 3 steps to spring clean. What I'm talking about, the where you are now versus where you want to be, I've identified that as the idealism gap, because ideally you wouldn't be at point B, right? But there's so many things that you have to go through between point A and point B in order for you to get there. It is this gap, right? So in order to spring clean, we're going to use the idealism gap strategy. The idealism gap strategy, IGS, idealism gap strategy. And it says, 1, take an inventory of what you have. So we could apply, listen, I have been cleaning. Like, I ask myself every quarter, where did all this stuff come from? How did I allow all these things to get into my home? Anyways, you take an inventory of what you have, right? And when we're talking about our mind, one of those things that we have is embracing the wrong mindset. Our mind says that perfection, we have to be perfect in order to do it because somebody else is perfect, or somebody else did it that way and they were successful. That worked for them. That might not work for you. So take an inventory of what you have and realize perfectionism is a myth, correct? That's the first thing. The second thing that you want to do is decide what you're going to do with it. Practically, that looks like renewing your mind daily. This and you guys, if you know, this is all from the scriptures. This is all from the word of God. Renew your mind daily. Why do we do that? We do that so that we can remember what we're in it for, right? Decide what you're going to do with the object. If you're applying this to being at home and you're going through and doing a spring clean of your home, you would say, okay, I have this pot. Do I use it? Have I used it over the last 6 months? Is it beneficial? If not, what am I going to do with it? I'm either going to make a plan for specific use moving forward, or I'm going to donate it, or I'm going to gift it to somebody else who might need it, right? So decide what you're going to do with it. And for me, practically, that looks like renewing my mind around whatever that is. So if you're going to pursue a business, renew your mind about how that is going. What is that going to look like? Am I really passionate about this thing? I know I'm good at it, but just because I'm good at something doesn't mean that I'm passionate about it, that I want to pursue that I want to spend all my time doing that, right? So that's the second thing when you're utilizing the idealism gap strategy. Number 1, take an inventory of what you have, right? Number 2, decide what you're going to do with it. And number 3 is make the decision and move forward with the decision. Let's stop doing the whole back and forth. Like, right? Like, oh, I'm so sad that I gave it away. And that goes back to thinking on these things. So the Bible says, think on these things that are pure and holy and acceptable, right? When you do that, you are focusing on moving forward. As soon as you get to the place where you're saying, oh, I wish I would have. Oh, no, I actually really need that. I've done this before, you guys. So I'm speaking from a place of experience. Well, I actually really needed that. But when you focus so much on that, on what you gave up, on what you released, on losing something, then you get more of that. You guys have heard that before. When you focus on the things that you don't want, you get more of what you don't want. So you have to think on those things. So when you're saying decide what you're going to do with it, decide how you're going to move forward, focus on that. And you begin to see the opportunities laid before you. You begin to connect with the people who are a right fit for where you're going. So as we're talking about renewing your mind today and spring cleaning, since spring is upon us, because you know that the first day of spring is next Wednesday, right? The first day of spring is next Wednesday. Hard to believe considering that it's real full-fledged winter, like everywhere. It's so cold. Uh, and Jack Frost ain't giving up without a fight this year. But spring is upon us. It's next week. So as you begin to spring clean your home, which I'm a proponent of too, spring clean your mind, because we can't continue to live in the same ways that we've been living. This is me being honest. This is being me being real. This is being me. No nonsense. Tell it like it is. No fluff, no filler. The times are changing. We're seeing stores that have been with us for generations shut down. We're seeing industries impacted. We're hearing the news reports of how artificial intelligence is taking away the basic standard of what we have thought to be middle class jobs. Then what are you guys going to do? Right? So if you thought, oh, I can just wait until tomorrow, which you know a part of this community is, why wait until tomorrow when you can do something dynamic today? Do something dynamic today, not tomorrow. You can't do anything about yesterday, right? So it's time for us to begin to shift. So whatever that thing is that you're feeling in your heart, whether that is going to serve at a homeless shelter, whether that is preparing meals or warm packs for the homeless, whether that is becoming a foster parent, whether that is whatever that is, whether you want to launch a business, because guess what? We're going to need to be in a position where we're able to give, where we're able to serve financially. And I know sometimes in the Christian community, that's kind of been like, oh no, we're not supposed to have wealth. No, that is not true. We should not boast in our wealth. We should not put our wealth in the image of, replace it in the image of God, right? Because it says you can't serve money and God, right? Because it holds a different, it consumes one will be consumed. And so, but there are some of us, and I'm claiming it, there are some of us who are going to need to be in positions of wealth because we will give and help and serve, right? So you thought that you were getting this increase of resources, whether that's in finances or knowledge, whatever, that was just for yourself or for your family. No, God is positioning us to be in positions of power, to be in positions of influence, because he can trust us in those spaces. The people who have been extended those resources and extended that favor have not been stewarding it well. So he's raising up a flock of us to get in those positions and be able to steward and serve his people in a way that has never been done before. So I want to make sure that I come into my go-getter community, because that's what you guys are. You don't sit back and not do anything. You are go-getters. You have the capacity to impact and change the world. And I know that sometimes that's hard in taking the first step. And I know sometimes it's hard to build up the momentum to do it and to keep the momentum to stay there and do it. But you guys got this. And so I wanted to share these brief little nuggets with you today. Ask yourself, am I stuck in the old way of thinking? But make the decision today to say, I am choosing to embrace this new way of thinking. And I'm going to take these 3 steps of taking an inventory of what I have, deciding what I'm going to do with it, and then make a decision to move forward and be okay with that decision, right? These are the way to spring clean this negative mindset, this old way of thinking, and embrace this new way of thinking that's going to help you get to the place and become the person that you desire to be. That is all that I have for you guys today, because I could keep going. I'm pretty sure, right? I'm pretty sure that I could keep going. But remember to get on the wait list for the I'm Ready for Change course, which is going to be coming out soon, you guys. I'm going to be doing a pre-sale, and just so that you know and that you can get prepared and stack the coins that you're going to need, the pre-sale price will be $97. So don't say that I didn't warn you. But if you want to figure out what you want, see me. If you want to see how your wired influences how you get what you want, see me. And if you want to know the support systems that you need in place to ensure that you have a higher rate of actually obtaining what you want, get on this wait list, you guys. You see the world is shifting around us. Don't get left behind. I want you to be there with me. I want you to surpass me, just like Barnabas did with Paul. At one point, Barnabas encouraged Paul. He was leading him and encouraging him. But at some point, that role shifted, right? As we've learned at Word of Truth International Ministries from Pastor Presley. At some point, those roles shifted. I want the roles to shift, right? I want you guys to do what God has called you to do. I want you to serve the people that God has called you to serve, right? Because that's how we know, that's how he knows that we belong to him. That's how we look different to this world. I love you guys. Please make sure that you click on the link in the description box for the I'm Ready for Change course. It is an online self-paced course, right? So on demand, you can go on at 2:00 in the morning. You can hop off at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It'll be up to you. But once that course launches, I want you guys to be the first ones, because it's time to do it. It's time to do something dynamic today. I love you guys. I thank you for watching. I don't see any comments or anything like that, but I want to thank you all for watching. Talitha, Aviana, Genova, Shawana, Tony, Joyce, all you guys, welcome to Conversations with Kesha. And I will see you next week on another episode. And for those of you guys who are watching the replay, put hashtag replay so I know that you're in there as well. And I'll see you next week from Atlanta. I might be 12:15-ish because my flight gets in an hour before I'm supposed to go live. But I'll see you guys from Atlanta on another episode of Conversations with Kesha. Bye. I love you guys. See you soon.